These are the 5 most effective throws in the sport of wrestling. The first throw we're gonna talk about is the headlock. And you hear people all the time saying, the headlock is such a bad move, it only works in little kid wrestling or youth wrestling. Well, you'll see later a bunch of clips of the national championship tournament where people are ripping headlocks, and there's 4 specific positions where we're seeing the headlocks get thrown from. The first one is when your opponent has double underhooks. So here my opponent has double underhooks. I'm locking my hands in my double overhooks and I'm pushing on their chest. I do that to push their hips away. I can even drop it down to their belly because I want to get their hips away from me, because later on you're going to see there's actually some throws Will can do from this double underhook position. So I'm keeping him away. As Will goes to jack his arms up in order to get closer, I keep pushing away. He keeps jacking up. When I feel his head come up just like this, I'm gonna turn 180 degrees. My left hand in this case is gonna wrap around the head. And watch what my feet do. They are not stepping, they're just turning. They're turning like this. It's much faster than stepping across in this case. So I was just here. He lifts his arms up, I just twist, and then I'm just sagging over top to the mat here, making sure I slide my hips away to avoid getting rolled over top. Show you guys that one again. Whatever side his head's on, that's what I'm attacking, okay? So I'm sliding away, my foot goes in between his legs, I pivot and drop down just like that. My feet were a little bit too split apart, so I can always make a little adjustment there. Show you guys one more angle. So I'm here. I put one foot in between his legs. Start there, makes it a lot easier. I'm turning, here. One time a little quicker, jack it up, right here. And then make sure you slide your hips away so that you don't get flipped over top.
The first example we're gonna look at is from the double underhook position. In this example, Bryce Andoni's opponent's jacking the double underhooks up, and he just pivots right into the headlock position, making sure he stops his momentum right as he lands so that he can get the back points. Here's 2 more examples of this technique working at the national championships.
The next position, which I really only found 1 clip of this, so this isn't as common, but I wanted to include it. When your opponent is hitting a DJ, we can hit a headlock on them. Another name for DJ, bulldog. I don't know if there's any other names you guys have out there, cow catcher. But your opponent has a front headlock with a chin in an underhook position here. This can be done from the mat or your feet, but it's really based off of Will, or my opponent, doing a poor job of running this position. This works really well when you feel your opponent leaning backwards this way. So they're trying so hard to bring you over that they're almost falling to their own back, and that's where Will's hand can come over top, catch the head, and throw me right over top. And then as I kind of fall over, he'll pop his head right out. So go ahead, I'll show it from this angle. I'm here. This hand that's getting jacked up is just gonna attack the head, and I'm gonna step in front. I wanna get my leg in front so I can twist him over top. Another thing with running that DJ, if I'm running this, I don't want his leg to come in between mine, here. That's a position where if Will goes for the head, he can twist his hips, and I'm gonna get flipped over top. It's gonna give him that leverage. What we learned from, my other videos I have on throws is whoever's in front is gonna be able to do that forward throw. So if my hips are in front, I'm gonna be able to throw him over top. So if I'm running this DJ and I start getting behind him and his hips end up being in front of mine, I can get tossed over top, just like that.
Here, Ed Scott is hitting a DJ, and Keller steps in front. Look at how his leg is in front of Ed Scott's, and hits a headlock position, popping his head free, and finishing with the back points and ultimately the pin.
The third position is the pancake. Very surprised actually at how many times this was hit in the national championships. And it's done when your opponent shoots on you. So your opponent hits a shot, has to be some sort of single leg. Even if it was a double to start, you sprawl them to that single leg position. Now what does Will want to do? What is everyone taught? Get their head up. And that's great technique by Will. So I'm stuffing it my opponent's beating me, maybe getting my head up, or maybe I really need to throw him to get the win. Not super desperation move, but I'm normally sprawling, not hitting this. What I'm gonna do is as the head comes up, I'm gonna go to a cross face, and I'm gonna just turn my hips that way and sag to the mat there. It's a little bit awkward because you're like in this position, you kind of have to twist all the way. But because your opponent is on his knee normally from this position, so I wouldn't hit it actually when Will stands up. We'll say Will's still on his knee. That's kind of when it's a better option. Because when I go to throw him this way, Will doesn't have a post over there. He has a post here, he doesn't have one over there to stop the throw from happening. So you push him down, you reach under for a cross face, you twist your hips, and you bring him down to that position. So you're sprawling, and generally I do not like cross-facing people. Maybe I'll make a whole video on why cross-facing isn't that good. But if we're in this position, we're taking our hand under the face, cross-facing, we're just turning our hips and taking him right to his back, settling our weight down and away so we don't get flipped over.
This is when your opponent attacks your legs, you sprawl, dig underneath their face to get that head up. As their head pops up, you twist and take the head, putting your opponent to their back. Let me show you another example where it shows you what happens if you don't settle your hips. So here, the Iowa State guy headlocks his opponent from that same pancake position, but doesn't settle his hips enough, and as a result, gets flipped over and reversed to his back. The rest are just a handful of other examples from this pancake position where people are shooting in on the legs, you dig underneath that face, and you take them right to their back.
The fourth time you're seeing this is from the head pinch position. This is my favorite because it's the least risky. You have your underhook. Most good wrestlers will get head position on you. It's very hard to hit a lot of leg attacks from here, but it's perfect for the head pinch. So they got their head right on my shoulder. I'm just gonna reach up, lock in either an S grip or a gable grip, crunch his face into my chest, and you'll see most of these throws are not big throws. You're just circling hip to hip and you're pulling him across your chest. You're pulling him in front of you. Just sagging your weight down just like before. And it's really safe because if I go for this throw and Will's arm slips, I'm still gonna get the takedown and get his back. Big thing though is making sure that head gets trapped. So really try to squeeze that head in so his head's trapped, because sometimes people will go for a fireman's carry when you have this underhook position. So you wanna get that head trapped on your chest so it's difficult for him to drop under the legs.
This is where you have an underhook and the head trapped, and you're throwing them towards the underhook side. This is much safer. The reason being, if you go for this headlock, like you're gonna see in this example right here, and you miss, you're still gonna get the takedown because their arm slips over and you end up taking their back. Here's the last example, Peyton Robb hitting it towards the out of bound.
The next throw is the outside trip. And this is mainly done from double overhook position. So, you can hit that headlock like we showed before, or we can go for an outside trip. I'm gonna take whatever side my head's on, that same leg. So if my head's on the left side, my left leg is gonna step and my heel is gonna aim for the back of his knee. And it's gonna slide down, okay? So I'm here, I'm gonna aim here, aim for behind the knee and slide it down to the mat. And then I'm taking him straight towards his back. So I'm kind of twisting his upper body down and bringing him straight down like that. It's a hard fall. It's physically hurts to get thrown this way. So I'm not gonna do it 100% speed. You'll see in the clips in a second of people hitting it at full speed. You can hit it from over under, okay? You can do it from the different grips. Over under, probably gonna normally take them towards this overhook side though, and then just dropping back, going there. Some of them you're kind of leaning and throwing him in the air a little bit more, but again, I don't wanna crush Will right now. And then you do see a couple examples of this from a bear hug position. So a couple guys in this bear hug position, just using an extra little outside trip here to help bring the person back over top. I don't see it super common. You'll see a couple clips in a second. But it's just something I think people aren't really ready for. People are somewhat used to more to that inside trip. they're not really used to using your legs. So you take here, you step behind, you hook, and you bring them down to this back. I think it's a great move that people are not really prepared for.
Here's my teammate Mickey O'Malley hitting it multiple times in the national championships. Notice how he hooks behind the knee, slides his leg down, and throws his opponent backwards. Here is one more example of him hitting it. And he's not the only one, right? Here's Hayden Hidley, national finalist, hitting it on 5-time All-American. Here's Matthews hitting it in more of a scramble position, going to that overhook, more of an over-under. First two we saw were in double overhooks, where you see it most common. The last 3 examples I have is where people are hitting it from this double underhook position, a lot of times locking in a bear hug. So jacking up, locking their hands, and just outside tripping the leg to get the takedown. Here's one more example, bear hug, stepping around the outside and getting the takedown.
The third throw is the inside trip. Very similar to the outside trip, but on the inside, okay? In order to do the inside trip, it's hard to bring your leg into it if you're not standing, or if you don't enter in sideways to your opponent. So if your opponent's straight like this, when I go for this inside trip, I have to turn my hip and face the camera, like open my hip up for my leg to come through and around. If I'm facing, I can't get my leg to wrap around his legs. So say I have an overhook, which you normally see it from the overhook position. I open my hips up away from him, stick my leg through, and then I wrap it around where the back of my knee wraps around his calf. Sometimes his knee, but it slides down. The further it goes down, the easier the trip comes. So wrap, head goes to the same side, and you're dropping down to a double leg to prepare if he ends up stepping out of the position. Really gotta make sure your head is going to the same side here. So I open my hips up, I stick my leg through, I wrap, my head goes same side, and my hands collect the double as I finish, just like this. Love hitting it when your partner, shoots we'll say you shoot a single leg, and I sprawl here and jack you up. I'm kind of always pushing them away to get them to bring their hips into me, because it's hard to hit an inside trip if Will's hips are really far away. It's hard here. So I always kind of push them away to get them to drive into me. Then my foot, from here, I'm almost turned too much the same direction as he is, so it'd be tough. So I probably turn a little bit into him first. Wrap, leg goes through, wrap, and drop down.
This is mostly done from some sort of overhook position. There's a couple where they have the head, but it's not super common. Most times you have an over-under and you're inside tripping on the overhook side. And your head leans to that side as well. This is the second time where, you see them have the head when they're hitting the inside trip. It's just not very common. It's a little awkward to hit it from that position. Here's Dayton Fix. He's probably most noted for it. Let's watch that again. Look how Dayton's head is on the same side as the inside trip. Super, super important. Here's 2 more clips, one almost from the open, and then a second one done from shot defense.
Throw number 4, the lat drop. The biggest thing I want to emphasize is the explosiveness of this throw. You want to jump into it. You're in an overhook, underhook position. You're wrestling here. You feel that pressure. You're going to go from here to boom. You're jumping your feet in, pulling them up, and throwing them over top. Sometimes people do it in a less explosive way, but majority of these ones you're going to see in a second are from this explosiveness, squatting low too, so you can actually lift him up off his feet. So I'm in this overhook position, underhook position. I was shown to crank down on the overhook, kind of twist him a little bit to get a little bit of a reaction. So I twist into him just to get some pressure back, and then watch my feet here, ready? This is the key thing that I want you guys working on. So I'm here, and then I'm gonna go pull them right over top. Some of the heavier weights you'll see in the example we're gonna show lock their hands. They wrestle a lot of this body lock position, so you can throw from here too. You can have over under without the lock, or you can lock your hands together. Same thing, step in, arch, I let go just because I don't want to, hurt anybody, but do not post your hand if you're getting thrown. Hug their back, go for the roll. You post your hand, you're gonna break your arm. You gotta be careful drilling this technique. Normally I bring out the pad, the crash pad, when we're ripping the lat drop. A little bit risky, because if they do post their hand, they might catch you and actually pin you. So they're posting because they're ready to score, but they risk breaking their arm if they post.
One thing that's super important and you're gonna see when people hit this lat drop is the explosiveness of it. This is a very explosive throw. You really wanna jump your hips into it and throw them directly over top of you. Normally it's done from over underhook position. Sometimes it's done from that body lock, but I would say again, majority of the time, it's done from the over under. You gotta be careful hitting this because you might break your opponent's arm. Like if we go back to that other clip of Elam hitting it, if you post your hand like that, you might snap your arm in half. Luckily, this Campbell guy did not get his arm snapped in half. Jumping right into these lat drops though, planting both feet, ripping the person over. That was more of a circular kind of throw. Most of them are like jumping in though. Boom, jumping your feet under, throwing them straight over the top. And if you've noticed some of these clips of the bigger guys, a lot of times they're locking their hands. You gotta be careful with Wyatt though, right? Getting reversed from that position.
The fifth technique, which I think was the majority of the throws at the national championships these past few years, body lock. You're attacking the legs, the shot's not really there, come into the body, lifting, and mat returning them. Most of these you're seeing backwards. So what I mean by that is you hit your attack, it's not really there, or you need a big move, you lock, whether you trap the arm or not. I think trapping the arm, helps with the throw because he has less ability to balance. If he has arms out, he can maybe post it as he's falling or whatever the case might be. But whether you trap or not, you lock. You're stepping one leg behind, one leg in front. It's not always like this, but you're seeing this the majority of the time. You're lifting him up, and then you're bringing him towards his back. If I bring Will towards his face forwards, he can post his hand, especially if I don't have his arm trapped, he can post his arm as well. So we're going for this attack. We end up getting up to the upper body here. We lock, we step behind, we gotta tilt him backwards because Will can, if he's leaning enough forwards, can throw me like, that direction, exactly. Yeah. So I need to tilt his back backwards with my lock here. I wouldn't lock when I'm on my knee either because you're more vulnerable to get thrown. So step up, lock. Twist his body backwards, low, lock low. It's hard to lift him when you're locked higher, lock around the lower back. Lift, use your knee to sweep his legs out and finish bringing him backwards. This could be done from a lot of different cases. You might even go for like an inside trip. He steps out, boom, I lock. You can throw him in front as well. So if I couldn't get behind him for some reason, I could twist like a hip toss and throw him over top. Throw him forwards like the hip toss or the headlock. It's something I don't see drilled a lot, mainly I guess in Greco, but really great technique. Check out the last clips of just how the body lock works in a real match.
A lot of different variations of this happening. You're seeing it a lot from failed shot attempts though. Kind of shooting in, climbing up the body, locking their hands, picking the guy up and slamming them. Very similar to like a mat return technique. In that example right there, he was able to even trap an arm. That's definitely gonna make your body locks a little more effective as if you can trap that arm. And most of the time you're lifting and throwing them backwards. You're locking, you're stepping behind, lifting and throwing them towards their own back versus towards their hands where they can, catch themselves. Lift, bringing them towards their back. And again, most of these are happening off of leg attacks where you climb up to the body, lift, and bring them backwards. A couple more examples here. But again, I think this was the most popular throw.
Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Let me know if you want more videos like this where I'm having clips of the wrestlers and in person showing the technique. These videos were taken from DPS Breakdown, so if you want to see all the videos just in a row, go check out DPS Breakdown. I put their link in the description as well.